Offensive rebound by Okogie. Booker on a deep shot, and the loose change corralled by Leonard.
What that means, what it means to the future, is something that this fan base is definitely embracing.
Booker corner three won't go. Okogie getting his hands dirty on the offensive glass, knocked out of bounds by Phoenix.
Where you want to win all the time, you didn't. Probably embraces this a lot more, knowing the opportunity.
A little bit of a shaky offensive start continues for the Suns. They turn it over.
Half a game separates them from 4 and 5 in the conference standings. In the playoffs, 4 and 5. All-Star break to determine kind of what it looks like later. He passes all the things necessary for him to stay on the court. Utility type of player.
Wasn't a legal defense against the Clippers, but certainly man's numbers have been much more significant as a starter as DeAndre Ayton shows that soft touch. So a 5-point Clippers lead as we cross the 8-minute mark. Look at Zubac getting out against Booker. Man in the open floor. Hard right-handed flush. And with him trying to get a feel for where he likes it. And he told the team, don't overthink it, as just alluded to, Monty Williams. And that's
but that's the beauty of having some kind of, I think, connection with KD from Monty, a comfort level.
Booker's strong move to the cup. Ty Lue makes change. Paul George sits, and one of the newest Clippers, Eric Gordon, checks into the game. Acquired from the Rockets in that 3-team deal that shipped out Luke Kennard to Memphis.
Because it's not normal for a guy to come into the league or his whole life shoot one way. I think Tristan Thompson did it one time in Cleveland.
That switching from right hand to left hand on the free throw situation.
Paul George, now they say no basket.
That is a us problem more than a Phoenix Suns issue, you know?
Basically explains the season, all the craziness that they've had. What a pass! Surgical was Booker getting it to Biyombo. As we come up on the midway point of the second quarter, Booker into the corner for Okogie. Starting to play with some confidence. Left-handed finish. On a masterful three-point stroke, 14 for PG-13, and a quick answer from the corner by Craig. Suns coming in off their Tuesday home win here over Sacramento. That's Booker. 34 out of potential 61 games as they try to maintain that knee. Beautiful looking shot and contact from Booker.
You just have to be patient enough not to affect the offense negatively by trying to go get your offense. That's what high IQ, quality pro, high scorers in this league understand.
Kawhi misses on the baseline.
Well, Booker has never had that dynamic score on the other side of him. And he's always been able to do this. When they need a basket, when they need a jolt in the arm, they always go to Devin Booker.
Ending an 8-0 Phoenix run. So a 2-point game. Look at Ayton in traffic going left hand off glass. The NBA on TNT is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill.
And the Clippers are 7th in regards to slowest of pace. That's not going to mean that the pace is going to pick up, but I don't think you'll get bogged down as much because of how dynamic of a scorer he is offensively. Because now the defense has to shift over. And you can move him, and he doesn't have to be dynamic. He doesn't have to have the ball in his hands.
There are a lot of stars in this league, but few, once you start to get up into that stratosphere, how quickly can the Suns put it all together?
But that's what I'm saying, is that he's going to, and a player in this position, have space to operate, and Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton miscommunicated on that. Kevin Durant brings offensively is powerful, but he doesn't do that as a leader. Chris Paul will remain the vocal leader of this team, and I think that's very important because you don't have two different forces. So trying to develop continuity and what it looks like and fit, injuries and all of this lends itself to that inconsistency at times early in the season. Now they've been probably offensive possession, but it ended up with Eric Gordon, a decision maker in that pick and roll, to be able to dump it off to Plumlee inside.
Booker thought he was fouled. So Phoenix with Ross Biyombo, Booker, Lee, and Okogie. Booker loses his footing. Look at Plumlee getting his hands dirty.
Not looking at the playoffs, but Terrence Ross in Orlando, never complained, stayed professional. Eric Gordon as Diablo with the baby hook.
And one thing to keep in mind about Golden State, they barely had their starting group for a cup of coffee last year before the playoffs began. And one thing to keep in mind about Golden State, they barely had their starting group for a cup of coffee last year before the playoffs began. And we all know how the season ended. Gordon, Leonard, and Paul George. Booker, tough defense from Gordon, and he goes glass.
Early in his career, there were gaps and shots he wouldn't see. The game has slowed down, and now he's making plays just like we saw either in transition or in the half-court set. He's speaking about making plays, deep book.
Questionable decision by George.
Tough pass to catch right there. A little bit of traffic, bounced it.
Booker, the spin can't hit, and it's cleared by Leonard. Gordon, the trailer, tees it up, no good. Fight for the rebound. Look at Zubac. How good has he been on the offensive glass this season for the Clippers? Now, Dennis, it's a good point. And all the tweaks now, the different lineups and the rotations that Ty Lue is going to have to work through. They've got 8 weeks, Jimmy, to figure it out. But what a bunch of additions that they've made. Look at Booker. Right-handed scoop, and he'll have a chance at three.
We get up underneath Zubac for that three-point play.
My goodness, 13 for Kawhi. And the Clippers trying to give themselves some breathing room, but Ayton with a quick answer.
Well, the two players we talked about struggled with their shots in the second half. Have been the ones that dictating what this fourth quarter ultimately.
That's 25 years 7. He's actually one of 15 guys in the league averaging a double-double. Booker has his pocket picked. It's Gordon. Clippers trying to run that clock. Final 60 seconds. Shot clock down to 2. What a matchup between Paul and George. Leonard flicks it up and in, and he's headed to the free throw line. They will leapfrog Phoenix in the standings and move into the 4th spot in the West. And 28. Booker's 3 won't go. Paul is there with 13.7.